Hello everyone, I hope that you're doing very well. Today's video is one that I am very excited to share. As we all know by now, the new Wednesday Addams series came out and it's wonderful. I watched it last week, literally finished it within less than a day, and I just couldn't not paint a still from it. So that's what this video is. If you've watched the series already, I would love to know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't, go watch it. It's just great. As a kid, I really liked the Addams Family, and when I was little, the new Addams Family series was on TV, the one that came out in 98, I think. And I'm not sure if I've ever seen the whole of the other series and film and everything, but I've always really liked it, and Wednesday was always my favorite character. She's so interesting, and I think Jenna Ortega did a beautiful job portraying her, and I loved everyone else on the cast as well. I would really like to do a painting of some of the other characters as well. Bianca, I think I would really like to paint. I just haven't found a reference that really does her justice, like browsing online, but I plan on rewatching the series anyways, specifically to find stills to paint or draw, because I just really like the aesthetics of it. Tim Burton did a great job with that, so I guess you can kind of expect some extra drawings on the theme in upcoming videos as well. But obviously I wanted to paint Wednesday straight away, and I had a couple of ideas. I initially wanted to paint the dancing scene, but then I found this still, which I just really loved. Everything from the pose to the colors I thought was great. I really like the idea of having the cello in there as well, because it's a part of the character that I really liked. So this is the one I went with. I might still do a drawing of the dancing scene, because I think the dress would be really fun to draw, like a good practice exercise other than just a cool scene to actually draw. And for this one, I also did a pencil sketch just to test it out, see if I liked it, if I could capture it in a way that I actually enjoyed. And then I primed my page, drew it out again, and started painting. You might notice I did crop it from the original composition a bit, because I didn't want her face to just end up really tiny in a corner, and I was painting on an A4 sheet. I didn't want to do big painting. I just wanted to do like a quick 45-minute sketch, but I still wanted her to be very present, so I kind of zoomed it in a bit, and you know, here's the painting process. I'm actually really happy with the way that I cropped it, and I think it turned out really nicely. Like most portraits I do though, it went through kind of a long ugly stage, if you will. When I'm painting, I kind of have a plan and I know what I'm doing and where I'm going with it, so I don't really pay too much attention to it. But looking back at it, I think it's very evident, so I'm very aware of it. But trust me, it does get better, even though it's nowhere near perfect, and like there are so many things that would need to be reworked. But obviously this is just a quick sketch, quick per se, like it's less than an hour still, and it's only one layer. I'm not gonna go again and like do another one, but if it were like a proper finished painting, I would, because there are so many things that could be made better. Anyways, I am really happy with the final result. And as always, I'm using oil paint. Sketchbook page is primed with 2 layers of gesso, and then I'm using my Liquin as my medium, so everything's dry in a couple of days time. I know I say this all the time by now, but I keep getting questions about it, so I just thought I'd say it again. And I am actually using some extra paint colors for this painting. Specifically, I have an extra blue on, another sort of lighter pastel blue, a purple, a magenta, and then later on in the painting process I also added black, which I've talked about before, about how I usually don't like using black in my paintings, and I feel like it takes away a lot of the saturation within the shadows, and I like mixing my shadows with a mix of Payne's Grey and Burnt Umber usually, which makes for a much more vibrant and interesting color. But this reference in particular had a lot of dark areas, and the Payne's Grey I have is quite transparent, so I just felt like it wasn't cutting it, and I couldn't get dark enough darks, and I thought, I have black, I might as well use it for once. I didn't use it on its own, and I always mixed it with blue or purple or something, but I did use it and I was happy I did that. I still feel like the shadows are a bit lacking in something. They're not quite as interesting, and like they don't quite have any like subtle variations of color within them, I find, which is what usually happens when I mix my own shadows with Payne's Grey and Burnt Umber, because I kind of do different mixes with different ratios of the two, but I'm still quite happy with it. And then the other colors I just saw in the reference and I never really used them, but since I do have them, I thought I might as well use them because they are really lovely colors. I really like the light blue, especially, that I mostly used for like the lighter parts of the cello, and I think a bit in her hair as well. And I think it might be fun to make some paintings inspired by that maybe, and like to use these colors that I never really do specifically for pieces. So maybe that will be a project that I work on eventually, or just something I keep in mind when say taking references for painting, or like just planning my painting colors or something. I don't know, we'll see about that. But back to the painting, I will say that if there's one thing that I'm really happy with are the eyes. I feel like eyes are always something that I struggle with a bit in terms of capturing them first try. It's something that I sometimes have to rework a few times before I find a place with them that I'm satisfied with. But I feel like in this case, it just worked straight away, and then I just left them as they were, and I'm really happy with them. One thing I did sort of mess up are the lips. I made them very desaturated. I think the shape is quite good, but the color, I mean, it still fits the whole vibe, and I don't think that I very accurately stuck to the colors of the reference, even though I did really like them. I just kind of went for a bit of more of a muted look somehow, but looking at the reference and like comparing it to my painting, the lips are a very different color, and the hand that I'm painting now is probably the least fleshed out bit in the piece, so that would definitely need a lot of reworking if I was going to do like a more finished piece. The top bit of the cello as well is just sort of a mess, because honestly I just couldn't be bothered with it. And like, that's the thing, the important part of the piece is her face, and that is the part that I wanted to flesh out the most and like represent in the most amount of detail. And then the least important things are where I'm going to put not necessarily less effort in, but just less detail in, and I'm not gonna spend as much time working on them. Basically, I do feel like the hand could have used a little bit more detail though, because it just sort of got lost a little bit, and part of it is looking quite muddy. So that is one thing that I would definitely change. I really like the cello. I didn't go, again, for very like specific details. I think it could be fun to add the actual strings like now that the painting is dry, because I couldn't really do that while the painting was wet. Like I tried and it was just getting all like blended together and mixed together, which is something that happens with oils. But if I wanted to, I could go back and do that now that the painting is dry, and I feel like that would add a nice other focal point. But I do want the face to be the main focal point, so I'm not going to do that. And overall, you know, background's quite messy, but I think it fits in quite well. It's interesting though, because the background is probably the most saturated part of the piece, which was not my intention. I don't really know how that happened. I mean, it is quite saturated in the picture anyways, because it's got Enid's like colourful window in the back, but still. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed the painting process. This was really fun for me to paint. Who knows, maybe I'll do some of the other characters as well in upcoming videos, so stay tuned for that. For now, I really hope you enjoyed this one. I'm going to wish you a lovely couple days, and I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye!